My book Intolerable is really a story of the Middle East, the Arab world, touching particularly on the three countries that my family lived in. I was born in Yemen, grew up in Beirut, and then went to live in Cairo and then back in Yemen. So it's a story of that part of the world, and it's tracking its shift from secularism into a kind of hardline Islam and fundamentalism. And it's using my family as the through line of sort of tracking that shift. But it's also, in many ways, it's a coming out story. It's a story about finding my place in the world here in Toronto. The book came out of great sadness, personal sadness and depression. I went to Yemen to visit my family in Sana'a in Yemen in 2006. I had been living in Toronto for 10 years at that point. And when I went there, I was struck by the deterioration in their lives and the gap between their lives and mine. I always thought of my life as very privileged, and I went back and I saw a family that was very much in the sort of caught up in the turmoil of what's going on in the Middle East. So a friend of mine said, you know, you're a writer, so why don't you just write something about it? It's been 5 years between the idea of the book and it's actually hitting the shelves. It's been 5 years, so I always like to say it's the longest therapy session in the world. Having a gay neighborhood was so central to how I felt about the city. It's a place where I can be who I am. I'm fond of the Church and Wellesley neighborhood because it has given me a home within my home. It's my first part of the world where I felt belonged to me. I'd like readers to read my book and think about all those sort of nameless and almost faceless people they see on the news when they see coverage of the Middle East, protesting on the streets of Cairo. I like them to think that there are people there with stories not unlike our own here in Toronto. Well, I think the Toronto Book Awards are great because they, among other things, they promote local writers. So I think an award that in part is about books in which Toronto, there's some connection to Toronto, helps put Toronto on the map a little bit more.